Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you're all doing pretty well. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different with my E3 related content. Now, I understand that I haven't really given my own little perspectives and thoughts about all the games and such that are coming out of E3 ever since the conference has started. But today I figured with the announcement of the new Smash Brothers game coming out for the Wii U and the 3DS, I figured it'd be kind of a fun time to just kick back and do a little bit of speculation of what characters are going to be in the next Smash Brothers game, because everyone knows we love to speculate. And so these are just my personal top picks that I want to see in the next Smash Brothers game. Your list might perfectly differ from mine, and that's perfectly okay. I'm just saying, as a fan, these are the ones that I personally would like to see the most. And I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of honorable mentions out of the way, and I'll explain my reasoning for why I think these should be in here. So let me go ahead and get the honorable mentions out of the way right now. The first honorable mention I have is Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles. Now, this to me would seem like a great way to honor Operation Rainfall for all the work they did to get. They had to work their ass off for years just to get Nintendo to convince to release Xenoblade Chronicles in the States. So I figured with a game like that, having to work so hard for them, having to put Shulk into Smash Brothers would be kind of a nice little say, alright, we understand that you had a big fan base for this, you really wanted this game, here's a nice little bonus as a reward for your efforts to have Shulk in the new Smash Brothers game. And who knows, if having Shulk in the next Smash Brothers game would help perpetuate the idea of Xenoblade selling more, then it obviously would be showing that there's a much bigger audience than we originally showed for JRPGs to be here in the West. So it would be a win-win. The second honorable mention I have would be Kisuke and Momohime from Muramasa the Demon Blade. Now, Muramasa the Demon Blade is a game that I really love. If you guys notice, like normally where I'm sitting at my desk for most of my videos, I actually have a Muramasa the Demon Blade poster next to my Azora's Wrath poster. And so, with Kisuke and Momohime, I figured the art style and the characters themselves would be perfect for the setting of Smash Bros. And just would allow for a lot of variety. And to dig up like an underrated gem, kind of like Muramasa is, would be, to me, a very fitting setting for a Smash Brothers game. I don't know, it just seems like the art style, the setting, it adds some more and more life to the franchise, and I just feel like it would be a little bit different than what Nintendo is used to putting into their fighting games. And my third honorable mention for this game would probably be Rayman, from, obviously, the Rayman series. Now, I understand that Ubisoft, I don't think to my knowledge, I could be wrong on this, has never released a character in a Smash Brothers game as a playable character. They might have had a trophy or two or something like that, I don't know. I don't know all the details. But the reason why I say Rayman is this. Rayman Legends was originally announced as a Wii U exclusive. Now, I called it months ago, back when it was originally announced, that it was going to go multi-platform, and I was right, eventually. But Rayman, I feel like, is a wacky enough character, to me, that would fit appropriately for the Smash Brothers universe. And so, the idea that a once Wii U exclusive game would now get a character that was originally meant just for that system, would now be a playable fighter, would actually show some more third-party support from Ubisoft to go to Nintendo. And it just seems like the character would be an overall good fit for that universe, and just the kookiness of Rayman would fit fine for something like characters like Mario, Kirby, Pikachu, and so on. So Rayman would just, to me, be a fun, goofy character to have in Smash Brothers, and to me, one I would personally love to see if they either did his Origins model or his Rayman Legends model. And since Rayman Legends is coming out later on, it just seems to me like a good time to announce a character like Rayman to further perpetuate his popularity and his rise, or what, at least his comeback, as I like to see it. Alright folks, now that I got my honorable mentions out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the characters that I personally want to see the most out of the next Smash Brothers game. Now, I'm not going to lie, some of these picks might not make a whole lot of sense when you first think about them, but I'm going to try to explain my reasoning like I did my honorable mentions as to why I think they should be in this one, or at least why they could be in the next one. So starting off at number 5, I have Cayman from Madworld. Now, I know some people might be thinking to themselves, why in the world would a character from an M-rated game come into a Smash Brothers game? Now, this is not the first time that a seriously adult character like Cayman, or at least a more adult-orientated character like Jack from Madworld would come into this. I mean, heck, Solid Snake made it into the last Smash Brothers game, and that one's well known for being a more mature, adult-orientated franchise. And so, with Jack Cayman coming into Madworld, my logic into going this is this. Madworld was the first game ever released by Platinum Games, and it was on the Wii system. By the time that Bayonetta 2 comes out, it will be the 4th game ever released for a Nintendo system. The first one being Madworld, the second one being Infinite Space, the third one will be the upcoming Wonderful 101, and the 4th one will be the upcoming Bayonetta 2. And so, with the idea that Platinum Games is further developing systems for their console, the fact that Bayonetta 2 is exclusive, it would seem to me like a nice homage to have Jack Cayman from Madworld to come into the Smash Bros. Universe as a sort of a nice homage to their original product and their very beginnings. And so, I know a lot of people would probably suspect Bayonetta to come into the next Smash Bros. Game, but in all honesty, I mean, it still blows my mind, the fact that Bayonetta 2 is going to be a Wii U exclusive. But I'll get to that at a different time if you guys are interested. So with Jack, I feel like his moveset and his tone and over-the-top zaniness would fit better for Smash Bros. I mean, Bayonetta would be awesome, and that would make my jaw hit the floor because I could never see that coming. But could you honestly imagine, let's be serious here, folks, could you honestly imagine a character like Bayonetta fitting well within the Smash Bros. Universe? I mean, come on, throwing Mario, Kirby, or whoever into Iron Maiden torture attacks and having those crazy over-the-top gun battle, like, just gun moves and just a really sexualized character like Bayonetta, I just don't think fits well for the more kooky, like, kiddie-friendly Smash Bros. Game that this is usually portraying itself as. I just don't think that it fits. I mean, heck, Bayonetta 2 fitting on a Wii U, I just don't think fits at all. So, Bayonetta would not be, in terms of, I mean, that would be great, but I think Jack from Madworld would be a little bit more of a better pick. Just in terms of making sense. Just in terms of making sense and being more of an homage to Platinum Games to start. Alright, so number 4 in terms of my overall characters that I want in the next Smash Bros. Game, or at least would like to have, is Asbel Launt from Tales of Graces, or pretty much anyone from the Tales series. To me, Tales is an RPG series that I've recently got into. Tales of Graces F was the first one I played in the series. I absolutely loved it. Tales of Abyss came out for the 3DS recently, and I really enjoyed that one. And so Tales of Zilla is coming out this year in the States, and I'm really looking forward to that one. So, my logic following the Tales series in general, or at least Asbel in particular, is this. Tales of Graces was originally released as an exclusive for the Wii when it came out. And so, to me, it would make sense that Asbel, an exclusive character, would come to a Smash Bros. Game, and it was also made by Namco Bandai. And so, having a character like that, to me, it seems to me a logical placement of having a Tales character into a Smash Bros. Game. However, I also feel like this would be good for the Tales series overall, because it seems like it's a series that's kind of underrated. I know it's been going on for a long time, and I just recently got into it. And so, I feel like this would be really, really helpful, especially in the States, to help the Tales series. If they know that there's a character in that series to begin with, it might help make the series more popular, and thus we might get more games from that series to get more localized quickly here. So I think it'd be a win-win for each one. Nintendo gets a new, different character for their roster, and Namco gets more populated for one of their RPG series, and it would allow us to get more localized games in the States to have the character, or at least the franchise, a little bit more in the minds of most Nintendo gamers, or just gamers in general. Alright, so number 3 in terms of my overall characters that I want to see in the next Smash Bros. Game is Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes. Now, this one is a little bit easier to understand in terms of why this character in particular. For one thing, he's really crazy and kooky as hell. I mean, if you just played the No More Heroes games, he practically is made for the zaniness of Smash Brothers. And yes, I understand he is a little bit, I don't know, vulgar for some people's taste in the Smash Brothers game, and yes, they can tone down the language, and probably for people who are really too overly sensitive for that stuff, oh well. But since No More Heroes and No More Heroes 2 were exclusive to the Wii for a while, at least until the PS3 HD version came out recently, or I think it was last year, a couple years ago, I don't know. But since No More Heroes and No More Heroes 2 came out, Travis Touchdown became a very popular character, at least on the Wii sense. And so, with rumors and Suda51s, I've heard he's been interested in doing a No More Heroes 3. it just seems to me to get the hype train going for Travis, and having him in a Smash Bros. Game would allow people to get more excited for him, and thus perpetuate the idea of saying, hey, we want No More Heroes 3, there's an audience for it, and people who are fans of No More Heroes would obviously go to the Smash Bros. Game to play as Travis. So again, it's a win-win. Suda51 gets to make another No More Heroes game, if he's interested. Travis Touchdown gets a little bit more popularity, and No More Heroes fans get to play as Travis in the Smash Bros. Again, overall win-win. Alright, so number 2, we're coming down to the wire here, folks, for my overall favorite characters that I want to see in the next Smash Bros. Game. At number 2, for the silver medal, I have Ray01 from Custom Robo. Now, Custom Robo, for those who may not be aware, is a game that I absolutely love. I mean, it came around at a time when it was sort of like at the dawn of really when my gaming sensibilities were really starting to take shape and take hold. And to me, Custom Robo is one of, if not my favorite underrated game ever made. I'm not saying it's my overall favorite game ever made, but it's one of my favorites ever made. I'm not kidding you, folks. I put it like ranks of like Knights of the Republic and Shadow of the Colossus in terms of how pinnacle those were to my sensibilities as a gamer were developing. And so I credit Custom Robo a lot for that. Now, Custom Robo is a franchise that has, in my opinion, not given the credit or the recognition it deserves. Ray01, as far as I'm aware of, he has appeared in Smash Bros. Before. I think as either a trophy, somewhere in the background as an item. I'm not exactly sure. I think he appeared as a trophy in Melee, and then as an item in Brawl. Like, he was one of those random items that would come up in Brawl. I may not be 100% accurate on that, so correct me if I'm wrong, I apologize. But Ray, I feel like, would be a sweet addition to the Smash Bros. Franchise because he has a lot of really zany weapons, and with a character like, I know this is kind of a stretching in logic, Mega Man now being introduced to the mix, with him having so many crazy weapons such as Metal Man's Metal Blades, or Hard Man's Hard Knuckle Punch, or just zany weapons like that, Ray01, I feel like would be a nice sort of counterplay to that one. And so Ray01, I feel like it would be a nice addition to that franchise. Not only that, but considering that it has appeared on both the GameCube and the DS, I feel like this would be kind of a good way for a character that has never gotten the recognition it deserves to come forward onto the successor of those systems. And so, and the fact that the Wii U and the 3DS are going to have Smash Bros. Together, it would only make more sense to bring Ray01 to come into the picture because of the fact that he has been on both systems, or at least the Ray. Alright, my number 1 pick, the character that I want to see most in the next Smash Bros. Games is Chrom and Lucina from Fire Emblem Awakening. This to me makes the most sense out of everything that comes out of Nintendo. If they're going to add new characters to their roster to replace other characters in the roster, Chrom and Lucina would seem to be the most logical choice, and here's why. Number 1, Fire Emblem Awakening is the most popular Fire Emblem title that has ever been to date. I think it's sold, what's the numbers right now? I think last time I checked it was like 550,000 units sold on the 3DS. It's not unlike Fire Emblem characters to appear in Smash Bros. Games. I mean, Marth and Roy appeared in Melee, and Marth and Ike appeared in Smash Bros. So I feel like nice replacements for those. If they are not going to go with those characters, I feel like Chrom and Lucina would be a perfect addition for the franchise, and it would allow Fire Emblem to gain a little bit more recognition. And for people who are fans of Fire Emblem Awakening like I am, it would be a great opportunity to have those characters come into the franchise and get to play as them. Basically, all these characters I'm saying are adding into this franchise or want to add into Smash Bros. Are all characters I want to see another game from or have related to a Nintendo game in the past at some point. So Chrom and Lucina would, I feel like, be perfect replacements for Marth, Roy, or Ike-like characters in those universes. I understand that it might be just a bit of a clone for Smash Brothers characters, but to me it just makes the most logical sense. If you're not going to include those, at least have those characters replacing it with another current title that you recently just had released and has gotten a lot of critical acclaim, a lot of sales, and has helped perpetuate the franchise into a little bit more recognition that it deserves, and it will allow us to be more excited for the next Fire Emblem game. I understand Chrom would make a little bit more sense by himself, because of the fact that he's kind of the main star-ish besides the Avatar. But if I had to be honest, I would like to see Lucina in it, because I think it'd be really badass for another female lead to be in Smash Brothers, because yes, we have Princess Peach, yes, we have Zelda, yes, we have Samus, but we haven't seen another really super tough woman or a very respectable female character come into Smash Brothers, and I feel like Lucina would fit the bill perfectly. So there's just my personal thoughts. Chrom would be great in terms of recognition-wise, but I feel like Lucina, in terms of diversity, would be a much better choice. So either one of those would be perfectly fine, but I want to see some way, shape, or form those two characters, either both or one in the other, to be in the next Smash Brothers game. So everybody, there's my thoughts on what characters I want to see most in the next Smash Brothers game. And I understand if you're, again, your list is going to differ than mine. That's perfectly okay. Just comment below on what character you personally want to see most in the next Smash Brothers game. And I'm actually going to, and as you can tell with the shirt I'm wearing, I'm actually going to go see Man of Steel tonight, just like some of you asked me to do. I've got a lot of Superman stuff coming in the mail, and so I'm going to film a whole lot of E3 stuff just right before this. I'm going to go see the movie tonight. I'll come back to the review. So basically, I'm on a video making frenzy right now. So I'll just leave it at here, and until next time, I'm Perry, the one-armed legend. You name it, I can play it.